A teenage boy accidentally kills a grasshopper on camera and the director keeps the scene. A family home burns to the ground, but this time the flames are completely real. A future Oscar nominee lands the role that changes his life only after another famous actor is suddenly pushed aside. And years later, one handwritten letter from Leonardo DiCaprio would prove this movie meant far more to him than anyone realized. What's Eating Gilbert Grape may look like a quiet family drama, but the real story behind its making is filled with unbelievable moments that sound too strange to be true. In late 1992, production was underway in rural Texas, standing in for the small Iowa town where the story takes place. During one scene, 19-year-old Leonardo DiCaprio was told to place a live grasshopper inside a mailbox and slam the door shut. Nobody expected what happened next. Taking the instructions literally, he closed the mailbox and accidentally crushed the insect on camera. Years later, DiCaprio admitted nobody had warned him not to do it for real. Animal welfare monitors were unhappy after the take, but the footage stayed in the final film because it felt completely genuine. That unexpected moment perfectly reflected the entire production. The strongest scenes often came from real reactions instead of careful planning. DiCaprio approached the role the same way. One of Arnie's most memorable habits, pressing his fingers against his eyes before slowly dragging them down his face, wasn't written into the script. Leonardo invented it himself, calling it a brain wipe, a small gesture that helped him stay unpredictable and natural in every scene. But what most people never knew was how close he came to missing the opportunity entirely. Director Lasse Hallström reportedly worried that the young actor looked too polished for such a demanding role. Instead of arguing, DiCaprio quietly prepared. He spent days studying recordings of a child with a developmental disability and later visited a local center where he carefully observed children with similar conditions, paying attention to their smallest movements and expressions. When he returned, he had built an entire character from those observations. Crew members only realized how much work he had done after watching the daily footage. Even then, Leonardo almost wasn't Arnie at all. Years later, Corey Feldman revealed that he had originally been cast before Johnny Depp officially joined the film. According to Feldman, everything changed once Depp signed on. Feldman claimed Depp privately told producers he didn't want to work with him, leading to his removal from the project. Depp has never publicly confirmed that version of events, but Feldman has repeatedly said losing the role remains one of the biggest disappointments of his career. He has even admitted he still hasn't watched the finished movie. Looking back now, it's hard to imagine anyone other than Leonardo DiCaprio playing Arnie, yet one decision behind closed doors changed the careers of two actors forever. Once Leonardo DiCaprio officially landed the role, Johnny Depp wasn't about to make things easy for him. Years later, while accepting a Career Achievement Award, Depp openly admitted, "I tortured him." He laughed about it, but he never tried to deny it. During filming, DiCaprio constantly talked about video games between takes, something that quickly got on Depp's nerves. Nearly 10 years older and dealing with personal struggles of his own, Depp would jokingly tease the teenager whenever he had the chance, making sarcastic comments and refusing to treat him like everyone else's favorite young star. Looking back, it's funny to imagine the contrast. One was an established actor carrying the weight of fame, while the other was an enthusiastic 19-year-old who just wanted to chat about Nintendo. Yet somehow, that unlikely pairing created one of the most believable brother relationships ever put on screen. To his credit, Depp later made sure people also knew another side of the story. He praised DiCaprio's commitment, saying it was obvious even then that the young actor had an incredible work ethic and had thrown himself completely into the role. Off camera, their relationship wasn't always serious. One day, while waiting between scenes, Depp pulled out an old pickled egg that had gone horribly bad and challenged DiCaprio to smell it for $500. Without thinking twice, the teenager accepted the bet, took one sniff, and collected the money. It's almost impossible not to smile at the image. A future Oscar winner earning quick cash by smelling rotten food on a quiet film set years before Titanic or Pirates of the Caribbean would turn either of them into global icons. Moments like that remind you they were still just two young actors trying to pass the time on a small production in rural Texas. At the time, though, the balance between them was completely different. Depp was already the established star, known for 21, Jump Street and Edward Scissorhands, while DiCaprio was still fighting to prove he deserved to be there. That makes what happened years later even more interesting. After Leonardo became one of Hollywood's biggest names, Depp publicly admitted he hadn't always been as kind to him as he should have been. Most actors would never think twice about playful teasing from decades earlier, but Depp clearly remembered it enough to apologize without anyone asking him to. There was another side to him on that set that rarely gets mentioned. Throughout the film, Gilbert says several painful things to his mother about her weight. Those scenes were difficult for Depp to perform because actress Darlene Cates had struggled with body image for much of her life. According to people involved with the production, after almost every take, Depp would quietly walk over to Cates and apologize, making sure she knew he hated saying those lines and that none of them reflected how he truly felt. Those simple conversations stayed with her long after filming ended and revealed a much softer side of the actor that audiences almost never got to see. Darlene never had to carry the pain of those cruel lines alone. After almost every take where Gilbert insulted his mother, Johnny Depp would quietly walk over to her and apologize. He wanted her to know those words belonged to the character, not to him. Darlene later admitted those small moments meant more than anyone realized. She had struggled with body image for years, and Depp's kindness made a difficult role much easier to carry. But while he was taking care of others on set, his own life was becoming more chaotic. In September 1994, about a year after filming ended, police were called to Depp's hotel room in New York after it had been completely destroyed. Furniture was smashed, glass covered the floor, and Depp was calmly sitting inside smoking a cigarette. When asked what happened, he jokingly claimed an armadillo had escaped from the closet and attacked him. Police searched the room but never found any armadillo. Depp ended up paying thousands of dollars in damages, and the strange story became one of Hollywood's most famous legends. Looking back now, it showed just how different his real life was from the calm and patient man audiences saw in Gilbert Grape. On screen, Gilbert quietly carried the weight of his family without complaining. Off-screen, Depp was dealing with battles nobody watching the movie could see. That contrast gives the film an entirely different feeling today. But if one person truly became the emotional heart of this story, it was Darlene Cates. Before the movie, she had never acted professionally. She had spent years living a quiet life before a screenwriter saw her on a television talk show and instantly believed she was perfect for the role of Gilbert's mother. Suddenly she found herself working alongside two young actors who would soon become Hollywood legends. Despite having no acting experience, she delivered one of the film's most unforgettable performances simply by bringing her own life into the character. Before production ended, 19-year-old Leonardo DiCaprio sat down and wrote Darlene a handwritten letter. He admitted he wasn't great with words but told her she was the most special person he had ever met and that she would always be the best acting mom he ever had. Darlene kept that letter for the rest of her life. She never chased Hollywood fame after the film. Instead, she made a few television appearances and spent years speaking to schools about confidence, body image, and self-worth. In 2012, after losing nearly 240 pounds, she said she hoped to act again because playing mothers came naturally to her. Sadly, she passed away peacefully in 2017 at the age of 69. When Leonardo DiCaprio heard the news, he shared a public tribute and called her the best acting mom he ever had, repeating almost the exact same words he had written to her as a teenager 24 years earlier. It was a rare Hollywood promise that was never forgotten, proving that some friendships last far longer than the movie that created them. Leonardo DiCaprio's first Oscar nomination came from this film, but he didn't win. The award went to Tommy Lee Jones for The Fugitive. Most 19-year-olds would have celebrated just getting nominated, and DiCaprio did, at least publicly. But that night quietly started a journey that would follow him for the next 22 years. The Aviator, Blood Diamond, The Wolf of Wall Street. One nomination after another, and every time he went home empty-handed until The Revenant finally ended the streak. Looking back, it all started on a small Texas film set with a mailbox, a grasshopper, and Johnny Depp teasing a teenager about video games. While DiCaprio kept chasing Hollywood's biggest award, Depp went in a completely different direction, creating Captain Jack Sparrow and becoming one of the biggest box office stars in the world. Two careers that started from the same quiet movie but ended up taking very different paths. At the time, almost nobody saw this film as a success. Even with amazing reviews and praise from critics, it earned only a little over $10 million in the United States, barely covering its budget. It disappeared from theaters quickly and never came close to the biggest hits of the year. But over time people found it through home video, television, and word of mouth until it slowly became one of the most respected dramas of the 1990s. Today, people remember it not because of its box office numbers, but because of its unforgettable performances and the incredible stories behind them. It introduced the world to Leonardo DiCaprio's talent. It gave Darlene Cates a chance she never expected. It captured Johnny Depp during one of the most difficult periods of his life while he delivered one of his calmest performances. And somehow, a handwritten letter from a nervous 19-year-old actor became one of the film's most emotional real-life stories when he repeated the exact same words after Darlene's passing 24 years later, calling her the best acting mom he ever had. Few moments in Hollywood come full circle like that. Maybe that's why What's Eating Gilbert Grape has only become more meaningful with time. It never tried to be a blockbuster. It simply told an honest story, and honesty has a way of lasting longer than hype. Looking back now, it's hard not to wonder if DiCaprio deserved that Oscar in 1994 or if Tommy Lee Jones truly earned it. And after hearing everything that happened behind the scenes, has your opinion of Johnny Depp and Leonardo DiCaprio changed? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoy uncovering the real stories behind classic movies, subscribe so you don't miss the next one.